So guys, welcome back to F1 2017 career mode for the Hungarian Grand Prix for round number 11. This season has gone by pretty quickly, but we're just over halfway now. Kimi Raikkonen, surprisingly, was actually in P2, but Sebastian Vettel obviously getting a penalty. He's now promoted into P1, and in fact everyone from P1 to 5 has been pushed up. We line up P9 though, just in front of Perez for this race. First time into Q3. And in fact, I think it's only like the second race I've really ran like full quali. So it's a good result. It's not screwed me over as much. So then we won't constantly get 16th place, which was a very common theme before. But yeah, this is going to be a very interesting race. As we can see, it is raining, which means that we're going to have to start on the green wall intermediate tyres. The weather is actually showing that there's not going to be a lot of rain. So I'm guessing very early on in this race we'll be switching to dry tyres. But as always, we are underfueling the car to help with the fuel management, as well as the kind of engine components. So the MGU-H, the engine itself, maybe, is it the MGU-K? Yes, MGU-K, that's it. That's what we use to run in rich mix all the time with. So less running in rich mix means less wear on that, plus less wear on the engine and MGU-H, and then that's my kind of thing from this point onwards. I really want to preserve this engine because in a way, like, some of the components are dangerously close to wearing out too soon, which means that we'll have to possibly take an extra component for the ones that are wearing a lot quicker. Hopefully that doesn't happen in this season. I really don't want that to happen. I want to try and drag 4 components out for this whole season. I really don't want to be taking any more. But on the outlap here, it is starting to rain a little bit more, but the conditions to me seem like they're just intermediate conditions, like literally a slither from dry to intermediates. So I'm not too sure what to expect off this start. Hopefully we can get a good one, but I can imagine that we won't be able to get much grip. I don't know. We'll have to see during the start though, but lining up in P9, just behind Hulkenberg, who's our rival by the way. So we're going to get ready for the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's going to be 5 red lights. And let's see what we can do off the start. And it's lights out, away we go. Kimi Raikkonen getting a good start actually. And we can see that I just pull into the middle of this picture. What a good shot it is, going down into turn 1, and Ferrari just stay ahead with Kimi Raikkonen at least, and we just take it very cautiously round the outside of Nico Hulkenberg, leaving too much room, and in fact we go quite wide off the first turn. So we kind of didn't take much of a risk, but now we're taking a risk down the inside of him, and I think that's Felipe Massa if I'm correct. I hope I am. It is Felipe Massa, so we're up into P7 just behind Vettel now. Now he's got to make his way through the pack. This is going to be quite impossible for him. And he's getting held up by Ricciardo and Verstappen. So he's got to get past those 2 Red Bulls and past the 2 Mercedes to actually join his teammate up into second there. But not too bad of a start. We're up into P7. We've gained 2 positions. It's not been the aggressive start that we have pretty much done throughout the entire season. We've pretty much like been super aggressive into turn 1. I just decided to back out. It's intermediates. I don't know how much grip I had. And it seems like in this section we are kind of gaining an advantage, but not so much because I seem to push the car a little bit too much there. Going a bit wide. That allows Massa to catch up. It's now a second to Vettel, so I've lost a lot of time. But then the Ferrari in general, and in fact I think the Mercedes and the Red Bulls have a lot more downforce, have a lot better chassis than what we have. So it's a case of trying to maintain what we have and not push. But that's going to be very difficult because normally when I do this I end up losing a bunch of time. But then going on to lap 2 now, Massa has pulled back a little bit, so we kind of gain more time throughout the final 2 bends, which is really good. But I don't know why, because I think our chassis is a lot worse than what Williams's is, so it's a bit strange. But then it's lap 3, the conditions are changing. We are coming into the pit lane to fit a set of soft tyres on, because the conditions were getting really bad for the intermediates. And I think I've called this pretty much spot on because everyone else is coming into the pit lane, so this pit lane is going to be very packed. so we might get held up. I hope that's not the case though. Coming into our pit box, let's see if the team can do anything, and yes they can get us out ahead of a Red Bull. And I think that might be Max Verstappen. I'm not too sure, I can't really see the number on the front there, but nonetheless we're out ahead of the likes of, yes it is Max Verstappen, we're out there ahead of Verstappen, a Ferrari, and that's just fantastic. But then lap 4, Verline decided to stay out an extra lap. I think his teammate went into the pit lane to change onto dry tyres, and now he's really, really bad for pace. So we go down the inside, a very unorthodox place to make a move, and we get past him. And also, I think our teammate was in the pit lane, and we just jumped Vettel there, and possibly Ricciardo here. He's just come out of the pit lane. He's on a set of medium tyres, so he's going to go for the long strategy. We go around the outside, well, inside of this corner, really, and up into P3 now. Bottas is ahead of us. We make an absolute tragic mistake right there, which allows Ricciardo and possibly Sebastian Vettel through as well. So we're just going to stick it to the inside for this corner, trying to hold Vettel off, squeeze him out, and we certainly do. It's a bit stupid why I'm battling with Ferrari. They're kind of the senior team, and essentially the senior team should really get ahead, and the junior team should kind of help them get ahead a bit more, so don't battle with them as much. But as we go down into turn 1, we're catching up right to the back of Ricciardo. We've got DRS as well on Ricciardo, getting a really good exit. He's obviously on the worst tyre, and we're going to try and nip to the inside of this corner. That Red Bull's very good through these corners though, the chassis right there, and we just about make the move stick, just about avoiding contact with the front wing of Ricciardo there. That was very lucky. Up into P3, so we're in a podium position. I can't believe it. We are literally on the edge of another podium here. Or maybe even our first. It depends. I don't know. I don't know if this is our first podium or what. I can't remember that far back in the season. But nonetheless, we're going to dive to the inside to perhaps fend off Ricciardo, and obviously that doesn't work. But as we go down into turn 1, Ricciardo's there on our outside. We're going to try and squeeze him out the best we can, and we just about do that. Vettel was looking as well down into turn 1, but obviously didn't have the speed there. He's looking for a move on Ricciardo. I'm going to see if that turns into anything, and it doesn't. Ricciardo just about nips ahead. Bottas is actually flown right ahead. That Mercedes car is just so much better. So we're not going to catch the likes of Mercedes or Kimi Räikkönen. That was inevitable before we even started the race, but then I just get caught on the curb slightly. Kind of go into a little half slide there, and just about caught it back going down to this little chicane here. This is really good, the exit we get off of this normally, but obviously the tyres and obviously the wear of the engine, trying to reduce that, has led to us getting a bad exit. But it's not too bad of a run through this little section here. I think we have the downforce for it. Of course we did have the downforce upgrades before, earlier in the season, that has helped us. And I think we can just about nip ahead of Ricciardo. But it's going to be down the start-finish straight where we're going to struggle there. Because Ricciardo obviously is in quite a quick car through the corners, and Vettel is in the Ferrari, so obviously they're kind of so much better. It's just a different car. So we'd nip to the inside here, trying to defend from Ricciardo, but not just from him, it's from Sebastian Vettel, trying to go 3 wide down into turn 1, turning towards Vettel, give Vettel the room on the inside, push out Ricciardo as much as we can, and we have let Sebastian Vettel through for that position. So we've only lost 1 position, but crucially, it's the Ferrari that have gone through. So our senior team is kind of now, all the cars are ahead of us, in a way. So obviously Räikkönen was in the lead. Don't know where he is now, but Vettel is in P3. He's going to steam away. I just got to defend against Ricciardo. I'm not worrying about catching Vettel, but Ricciardo has DRS. Goes to the inside, into turn 1, trying to hold him round the outside, and that doesn't quite work. I go off track a little bit there, giving way too much room, but Max Verstappen now is going to try and look for a move, but we try to look for a move way into the same corner we made a move earlier in the race on Ricciardo. Nowhere close enough to him. So we kind of have to stick with him here in his slipstream, hopefully to try and gain some time through this little section here. And we just about make that corner, and that's pretty much as close as you can get, really. And we gain an absolute load of time on Ricciardo. And we're going to try and maybe make a move, but Ricciardo locks up, and we just about avoid him there, and he's nearly taken out his teammate. Jeez, that was lucky. that was lucky on two fronts. One, since we didn't crash with him, and two, he didn't take out his teammate. So Ricciardo once again to the inside on lap 16, battling for P4, and I tried to hold it round the outside. Obviously push Ricciardo to the right a little bit more. I didn't really have enough room, but down the inside of here, again, it's a move where we made it on Ricciardo before, and we do, and squeeze him out very aggressively, and he's lost about 2 positions, I think that is. Actually, no, it's just 1. Verstappen's just ahead of him now, so we've got to defend against Verstappen. But Ricciardo's tyres would have gone off, so this is kind of like not worked in my favour at all by doing that. So Ricciardo is kind of behind Verstappen, but I don't know if he's going to challenge or not, because Verstappen is. And I think Ricciardo just might follow him, but we nip down the inside of turn 1, trying to squeeze Verstappen out, trying to maintain the line though, sticking to the right hand side of the track, because that's where the racing line technically follows after turn 1. And we just about keep ahead of him. It's P4. We're expected to finish P12. It's lap 19 as well, and it's gotten really sunny. And yeah, Bottas is in 3rd, so I'm guessing Vettel would have overtook him. So we kind of did a good thing by letting Vettel through, and that's probably going to increase my standing with Ferrari. But again, into this corner, another mistake, allowing both Red Bulls this time to get through. In fact, is it going to be 2? It's going to be just 1 by the look of it, because I push out Ricciardo. And I don't know why I did that, because I was going into the pit lane. So Ricciardo's lost a little bit of time to his teammate. I don't know when Ricciardo will come in, if at all. I don't know how far he's going in the race on those tyres, but we're coming in for another set of tyres. I don't know where we're going to come out, to be fair. Like, a lot of people are on the mediums around us, so this is going to be a bit of a tricky kind of thing. Are they going to benefit more than us on our soft tyre strategy again? So basically we're going on to 2 sets of softs, and we're going to finish the race on this compound. And as soon as I do that, Lewis Hamilton's out the race. It's a full safety car, and I didn't really realise I could have gained another position there if I full throttled it, but obviously Massa was ahead of me, so I had to let him back through. It doesn't really matter anyways, but let's look at why Hamilton retired. So this is him in 1st place. Sebastian Vettel, I can confirm, is in 2nd. We just come through this section, and then he just pulls off. I looked on board to see if there was any gear issues, but there's no engine issues at all. But he just shifts down and parks up. I don't know. What kind of issue could that be? Because I'm pretty sure I could see like a little glow at the back there. But then there's this other incident under the safety car. Pascal Wehrlein in the Sauber crashes into the safety car. So that's 2 retirements. Well, Wehrlein was an idiot to retire himself. He just basically full throttled into the safety car. Okay, that's the first time that's happened in this career. But nevertheless, we are on the restart, trying to go around the outside of Felipe Massa on the restart. It's green flags. We can try and hold it around the outside of Felipe Massa. This is very tricky, and in fact it was too much of a optimistic move to keep it around the outside there. Probably could have squeezed him a little bit, but doesn't really matter, because we're up into P9, having to make a dive bomb move on our teammate, who's now side by side with Massa and has lost a position to him. So I guess the team are not going to be very happy about that. Hopefully the team don't kind of blame me for that, but I blame myself. Nonetheless, we're catching up to Sainz now in the Toro Rosso. We've got Alonso ahead as well, which is going to be a bit of a tricky task, because we've got the nice little twisty section next. But we're right on the back of Sainz. Just get caught on that little curb there, and that sends us sideways, losing the time we gained pretty much within the long straight up the hill. So yeah, we've just got to mind that curb during the rest of this race. That's like twice we've done that now. So I really don't want to do that again, otherwise that could probably cost me another position. Or in fact, more than just time, a position. But we're catching back up to Sainz. We've got the better engine anyways. But hopefully we can try to maybe look down into turn 1 and perhaps around the outsider here. Geez, that was pretty quick. But then there's a lot of cars that come into the pit lane, and yeah, we get a bunch of positions, including our teammate comes into pit lane. So this is just weird. They don't pit under the safety car, from what my knowledge is. Those just waited until after the safety car to make the pit stops. Nonetheless, Felipe Massa is coming up behind us. We just about fend him off. We're up into P4, so it's pretty much essentially where we were before our pit stop. Luckily, we just about gained a free pit stop over everyone. Made our pit stop just before the safety car went out. So essentially, we're just doing the one stop, basically. So down the inside of Felipe Massa, we're now up into P3 because someone was in the pit lane. Sebastian Vettel's in P2. We fend off Massa just, and lo and behold, the person we let through when battling with Ricciardo and Vettel has won the race. Sebastian Vettel wins it for Ferrari at Hungary. Bottas looks like he's going to come home for second place. And I've just got to be careful and try to fend off Massa for the remaining 2 corners. So hopefully we might have a podium in the bag, which is very surprising in a Haas. I just can't believe it. We're actually going to get P3. Massa dropped back. We're in P3. I'm weaving it around. That was a good result. P3. The podium has been achieved finally. Wow, what a race.
A nearly flawless performance here then, and a commanding victory. Tell me, Ant, what was the key to this success?
The difference was clearly in the strategy. You could tell they'd done a lot of work on the pit wall to really optimise each stint and get the most out of the tyres. And it highlights just how much of a team sport this really is. But credit to the driver as well, though. There's no good having a well-oiled machine behind the scenes without a talented hand on the wheel, of course.
So, here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari on the top step once more.
So we are finally on the podium from P9 to P3, essentially doing a one stop because the free pit stop that we had before the safety car. So unfortunately for us, that we didn't have a points finish from Magnussen, so he finishes in P13, kind of losing positions there. He lost a position from his grid starting point, so yeah, that's going to be a bit weird. But Lance Stroll is in P5 from P all the way down in P16, I think he was. And we had Hamilton and obviously Verline that went out the race. But obviously, afterwards, I seen this. Hamilton retired because of mechanical failure, so I'm guessing it might have been something to do with his brakes or something. And a car got a drive-through penalty for whatever reason. I think it was the safety car really speeding under safety car. Nonetheless, we're in P8 in the championship. Despite our high finish, we're only 4 points behind Felipe Massa. We are 14 ahead of Perez, so we probably won't need to worry about him as much. Magnussen's in 14th with only 8 points. But in the Constructors, we are still 6th. Quite a way behind Force India. Williams have now overtaken them, but I don't know how high we're going to finish. Are we going to catch Force India? We possibly could, if any bad luck rolls their way. I mean, if Magnussen can also get into the points, that would be pretty good. If he has the same amount of pace that I had from that race alone, and as well over the rest of the season, I think we could be up there. We could be challenging pretty much for the top spots, but that's at the end of the session though. We are leading the rivalry over Hülkenberg in the Renault, of course. We got our podium finish. That gains us an extra point in the rivalry. And oh boy, we were so much faster. We were like 4/10 faster, I think it was. But yeah, Red Bull have a lot of rep for us for some reason. Ferrari not so much so, and Mercedes a little bit. Don't know why Ferrari didn't have much more like kind of rep increase, because we let Vettel through. Essentially, we barged out Ricciardo, and we barged out Ricciardo, the team of Red Bull like us even more, which is a bit weird. I don't understand that. It's stupidly weird. But just taking a look on the R&D tree, we're going to actually possibly eventually going into the engine upgrade. So I'm just buying the resource point reduction upgrade, kind of, so we don't have to pay as much. Well, it's only 100 resource points less. But yeah, we're going to try and perhaps upgrade something else. But however, we do have news from Chris.
Hey, good to see you again. The factory sent over the parts that were looking good on the rig. They're being fitted as we speak. Have a look at the report.
And that is our first upgrade for the chassis. I can't believe it. The luck we have with these upgrades, we've only had one part that's failed this whole entire season, which is very, very surprising. I thought more would fail, but yeah, we've got the weight reduction, the first upgrade for the chassis now. So I think from this point onward, we are going to focus mainly on the chassis. Maybe towards the back end of this season, or maybe early, very early next season, we could perhaps focus more on downforce. Of course, we need that for Monaco. Not going to explain why we need it for Monaco, but if you watch that episode, you'll know why that we kind of need it. But I think that's our first podium in the whole entire career mode so far. I can't believe it myself. We've got that weight reduction, possibly going to increase more in the middle of weight reduction and not going to bother with tyre wear as such, because that's not an issue, because we can, well, it's self-explanatory. We can finish on the podium without tyre wear upgrades. Aerodynamics, we did do 2 upgrades early in the season, but we need to do more towards the back end. Engine we didn't need to bother, but now Ferrari are starting to pull a little bit ahead of us and going to catch Force India. Obviously the top 3 are on Mercedes units. We're quite a bit behind Ferrari, so we kind of need to upgrade that, perhaps in the middle of next season where we need it the most. But that's going to be it for this episode of F1 2017 Career Mode. Thank you very much for watching. Next time out, I believe it is Belgium, so that's going to be another good race. I hope you can join me for that one. That's going to be it from me, and I shall see you all next time.